Spent last night on the lawn at the back. Just packing up our gear now. It's just before 7 o'clock on Wednesday the 2nd of November, day 9 of Araroa. And we're heading today from Mangamuka, possibly to Black Ridge, or maybe even as far as Puketi Forest Hut. So let's see how things pan out. It's shaping up to be a really nice day, possibly a little bit too hot, but we'll see how things go. Spent last night at this radio station. They're hopefully turning it into more of a campground and for future Araroa walkers. Unfortunately there wasn't any water, so we had to really fill the bottles before the guy closed up last night. But we managed and we're ready to hit the road. Quite a foggy start this morning. Had my light on the main highway just so that cars could see me, my headlamp, and just about to turn off the main road now to Mangamuka and come across this sign, 150k from Cape Yanga. Wow, come a long way already. An awful long way to go though, and that's where we're headed, off the main drag. So I just reached the turn off for the Mangamuka Forest Road and made good progress this morning. It's just after the 6k mark. Stopped for a little bit of a drink, and there's Timote, one of my companions today. There's 3 of us. Siobhan as well from Melbourne, and we're heading in that direction towards the hills. Just passing a little ford here, which is well documented in the Araroa trail notes. If the water's above this ford, then we're supposed to be concerned about possible crossings later. Unfortunately the water's below, so it looks like we're okay. There's one crossing in a few k's time, which is in particularly the hardest one of the whole day, so that's a very good sign. Been quite a climb up to the Black Ridge hut. The little arrow there, the orange arrow, the Araroa orange trail arrow, tells us we have to turn off here. So we must be close to the camp where we could have stayed the night, but we're going to push on. We will stop here for lunch, however. And there's the Department of Conservation sign a little bit further on, telling us we're almost here. So Black Ridge Camp. We could stay here, but we'll move on instead and try and make it to Puketi Forest Hut tonight, which is another 20 k's from here, but quite a difficult climb coming up on a tricky river crossing. Somebody already camping here. There is a road that we've followed all the way up, which is accessible by vehicles, and we've taken this opportunity to dry our tents out. It's quite surprising taking them out of the actual pack just now, how much extra weight they feel as though they have because of the water they got from condensation last night. So we have a 45-minute lunch stop, and then on we go. And the good news is we do actually have a little toilet and a water supply. Have to treat the water, but it's still available to refill the bottles. Had to take on quite a bit of water this morning. Already drank a couple of litres just to keep hydrated, mainly because of the climb. And interesting little feature here. There's a little turnstile we have to go through to wash our feet on the way through to make sure we don't carry any infections that can help spread the cori disease, the cori dieback disease. So we'll be making our way, probably another 20 minutes. It's been a nice little welcome stop, very welcome stop. So we've just come from that direction, and the last 45 minutes or so has basically been wading through the stream, coming downstream, and there's just no other way. This is part of the trail. And away from Siobhan, there's a little bit, occasionally there's a little bit of an embankment where we can just step off the water, but to be honest it doesn't really matter. Providing it's shallow, it's perfectly safe to walk in. Our feet are soaking, and you can see I'm actually standing in the water right now. So we've got another 1.5 kilometres of this, which is going to take probably a good hour to get through. It's so slow going. And then we have one risky sort of crossing which we just need to be careful for.
We're going to skip. We're going to carry on a little bit further and find a safer.
Yeah, word has it on the ground that there's possibly a safer crossing a little bit further downstream, so we'll reevaluate that when we come to it. But it's about 1.5 kilometres maybe, which is actually an hour away. So here goes. So after 2 hours approximately of walking through the stream, the river, we were then directed across the way to this little orange triangle there. We walked along the far bank and then we had to cross right at the point where it was actually sort of almost knee deep. It's quite fast flowing. The water's often a lot higher than this, so it's a lot more risky. So glad to get that little crossing over. Now we've got a big climb on steep muddy banks. So it's going to be a slip fest. And basically head for the orange triangles here. Good to go. Been a really tough day, still 12 k's away from the hut. Sidling by the side of the river was absolutely horrendous. We covered about 6 k's in about 4 hours. It was just so tough. Fortunately the climb, it's a big climb, it's 480 metres or something. Fortunately there's steps and a proper path so far and we're almost halfway up, so fingers crossed. But passed a sign before which said we were still 5 hours away from the hut, which was a bit of a concern. It's already something like 5:45, so got to try and get it there as quick as possible. And finally, after just over 12 hours of walking today, mind you there was an hour's break for lunch, but after 12 hours after we started, made it to the bridge. So still 2.5 hours to go to the hut, the Puketi recreation area, but I'm sure we can look at it quicker than that, but still it's been a long day. 8:10 in the evening, exactly 13 hours since we set out. We've got about 5 k's to go, lights fading, we've got the lights to get us to the line and we should be there probably within an hour or so. Been a big day, that's for sure. A fraction over 3 kilometres to go, it's pretty much pitched out now. We're all feeling tired but just very relieved. We know there's a hut in 3 kilometres time and I've got Siobhan to my right and Timothée in front, who've both shown amazing character today. It's been a hard tough day, so absolutely take my hats off to these guys. Hopefully we'll be in the hut within about 40-45 minutes. Looks like we've just about reached the hut and it's been a mammoth day. Now we have to clean our shoes to help prepare for the help avoid the coaldy dieback of the trees. Conservation effort to preserve the trees in New Zealand. So we have to give our feet a good scrubbing, and Timothée is doing that right now. The clock says 44.7k. Probably the Garmin watch says 44.7, even though 37 is the official app distance. All the crisscrossing we did in the river previously was probably the reason for that. But we've been on our feet for 14 hours and 11 minutes at the moment. We're just about done.
So it just has to do.
So here's one of the cleaning stations for your shoes as you enter the forest, which we came through at the start of the forest at Black Ridge, and then right at the last moment last night when we arrived at the hut. This is a slightly different one that we use. We use one further up the track. Yeah, so here's the hut facilities, which is actually quite a nice little hut. I think we woke people up last night when we got in. Everyone realised what a big day we'd had. It's quite funny chatting about it today.